We have some serious news coming out of Major League Baseball today regarding former Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher Julio Urías. Commissioner Rob Manfred has announced that Urías has been suspended through the All-Star break for a second violation of the league's policy against domestic violence and sexual assault. This is a significant development, marking Urías as the first player to be suspended twice under this policy, which was put in place back in 2015. The discipline, announced on Friday, means that Urías will be eligible for reinstatement on July 17 and can then sign with any team. It's important to note that this suspension doesn't cover a specific number of games because teams don't all play the same amount of games before the All-Star break. For example, the article mentions the Dodgers are scheduled to play 95 games before the break. Of the 18 players who have been suspended under this policy, only 3 have received suspensions longer than 95 games. Putting this into some context, this isn't the first time Urías has faced disciplinary action from MLB for violating this policy. Back in 2019, he was suspended for 20 games. This latest suspension underscores the league's stance on domestic violence and the consequences players face for such actions. The current suspension stems from an incident that occurred back on September 3, 2023. Urías was arrested outside BMO Stadium following an LAFC game. 8 months later, he pleaded no contest to one misdemeanor count of domestic battery. The article details some disturbing witness video obtained by the Los Angeles Times, which reportedly shows Urías charging after his wife, pulling her, and shoving her against a fence. The video also allegedly shows him swinging at her. The MLB investigation into this incident was reportedly delayed, in part because league officials hadn't seen this video evidence until it was published by the Times. While Urías was initially arrested on suspicion of felony domestic violence, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office determined that the circumstances didn't warrant a felony filing. The city attorney's office subsequently filed 5 misdemeanor charges, with Urías ultimately pleading no contest to 1, and the other 4 being dropped. As part of his plea, he agreed to enter a year-long domestic violence treatment program. It's worth noting that this isn't the first time Urías has been involved in such an incident. The article reminds us of his 2019 arrest in a Beverly Center parking lot. Witnesses in that case said he pushed his then-fiancée, who stated she fell. No charges were filed in that instance, but MLB still suspended him for 20 games, highlighting the league's ability to take action even without legal charges being filed. Following that 2019 suspension, Urías issued a statement acknowledging his inappropriate conduct and stating his belief that major league players should be held to a higher standard. Interestingly, following this latest suspension announcement, MLB stated that Urías has agreed to evaluation by a policy board overseen by the league and the players' union and will comply with any recommended treatment plan. MLB also said they would continue to offer support services to Urías and his family. Commissioner Manfred stated that after reviewing all available evidence, the conclusion was that Urías violated the policy and that discipline was appropriate. Unlike many players who face such suspensions, Urías did not issue a statement through the players' union following this announcement. This situation also brings to mind the case of another former Dodgers pitcher, Trevor Bauer. The article mentions that Bauer was initially suspended for a staggering 324 games by Commissioner Manfred for a violation of the same policy. That suspension was later reduced to 194 games by an arbitrator, still the longest suspension ever levied under the policy. Bauer is also noted as the only player to have contested such a suspension. He has been a free agent since January 2023, and despite pitching in Japan and Mexico, no major league team has signed him. For Julio Urías, this suspension comes after his contract with the Dodgers expired at the end of the 2023 season. Following him being placed on administrative leave for the final month, he has been a free agent since then and has not pitched in MLB. The article does point out that he would be eligible to sign with a team in the Mexican League even while on the restricted list in MLB. It's a stark reminder of the serious consequences that come with violating the league's policy against domestic violence. While Julio Urías has had a successful career on the field, including recording the final out of the Dodgers' 2020 World Series championship, leading the National League in wins in 2021, and an era in 2022, These off-field incidents have now cast a significant shadow over his career. His future in Major League Baseball remains uncertain, and this second suspension will undoubtedly make it even more challenging for him to find another team willing to sign him once he is eligible for reinstatement in July. This is a developing story, and we will continue to follow any further updates regarding Julio Urías and his potential return to Major League Baseball. What are your thoughts on this suspension? Do you believe the punishment is appropriate? Let us know in the comments below. Hey everyone, we have some concerning news to report out of Major League Baseball. Former Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher Julio Urías has been handed a significant suspension by the league. Commissioner Rob Manfred announced on Friday that Urías has been suspended through the All-Star break for a second violation of MLB's joint domestic violence, sexual assault and child abuse policy. He will be eligible for reinstatement on July 17 and can then sign with any team. This marks a troubling moment as Urías becomes the first player in MLB history to be suspended twice under this specific policy, which was first adopted back in 2015. His initial suspension was for 20 games back in 2019. The latest disciplinary action stems from an incident that occurred on September 3, 2023, outside of BMO Stadium in Los Angeles. Following an investigation, Urías ultimately pleaded no contest to one misdemeanor count of domestic battery. Disturbingly, witness video obtained by The Times showed Urías engaging in a physical altercation with his wife, including pulling her and pushing her against a fence, and then appearing to swing at her. The MLB investigation into this incident was thorough, and Commissioner Manfred stated that after a review of all the available evidence, the conclusion was reached that Urías did indeed violate the league's policy, making disciplinary action appropriate. As mentioned, this is Urías' second offense under the policy. He was previously suspended for 20 games in 2019 following an arrest for a domestic incident, although no charges were ultimately filed in that case. It's worth noting that this suspension, while lasting through the All-Star break, doesn't equate to a specific number of games due to the varying schedules of teams before the break. For context, the Dodgers are scheduled to play 95 games before that point. Only a few players suspended under this policy have received longer suspensions, notably Trevor Bauer, another former Dodgers pitcher, whose suspension was initially 324 games before being reduced. Julio Urías, who is currently a free agent, will now have to wait until mid-July before he can potentially resume his MLB career with a new team. He does have the option to sign with a team in the Mexican League in the meantime. This second violation undoubtedly casts a serious cloud over the future of a pitcher who once showed tremendous promise, including recording the final out of the Dodgers' 2020 World Series victory and leading the National League in wins in 2021 and era in 2022.